Greatness can't be defined, only described by play. A player by a memory or a moment that becomes history. Greatness isn't merely a goal, but a search fueled by passion, rooted in sacrifice. A feeling experienced rarely and desired by many. We gather again, hoping to see it once more on the game's greatest stage. The NCAA Men's Lacrosse Championship.
Championship weekend returns to Philadelphia. It's Denver, it's Notre Dame. Sound the bagpipes for the champions. Notre Dame led by the Kavanaugh Brotherhood. They've got the Irish on the verge of a second straight title. Meanwhile, the Pioneers of Denver look to conjure that perfect cocktail for a mountain-shaking upset. They've got a first-year head coach in Matt Brown. They'll play for that trophy 2 days from now on Memorial Day. We're down to 4 teams here in Philadelphia. The first semifinal pits Notre Dame and Denver. Virginia and Maryland meet in semifinal number 2 later today. The winners clash on Memorial Day. Anish, Shroff, Quint, Kessenich, Paul Carcaterra is down on the field. Denver and Notre Dame in this semifinal. Quint, these two have been drivers of westward expansion, geographical growth in the sport, and it's amazing. 20 years ago, this semifinal matchup felt like a fairy tale. Now it's normal.
We can call it the Lewis and Clark Western Semifinal Regional. Geographical outliers whose success has led to the growth of this game at places like Jacksonville and Marquette. Think about Utah in the tournament this year. Michigan, 2 years in a row in the tournament. And while you watch this game, you'll notice these rosters stacked with talent from about 35 different states.
Yeah, the team that has been the best in lacrosse from start to finish this year has been Notre Dame. And Carc, city of brotherly love, we got the Kavanaughs.
That's right, Anish. And Notre Dame's the only team in college lacrosse that has a top 5 offense and a top 5 defense. And the driving force behind that offense, well, it's the Kavanaugh brothers. Pat Kavanaugh is a senior. He's the school's all-time leading point producer. He's got a massive toolkit. He can dodge, he can get to the rack, he throws sick behind the back passes, and he will dominate one-on-one matchups. Brother Chris the Jr., he's the leading scorer on the team in 2024. 8 points against Georgetown in round 1. He's so slick. If you stop their offense, you got to deal with this man right here, Liam Entenmann. Championship weekend MVP last season when Notre Dame won their first national title. He has over 700 career saves, and he is an absolute showstopper.
The 2-time National Goalie of the Year award winner, like my partner Quint Kessenich. Notre Dame, the #1 offense in the country, almost 16 goals per game. Denver's counter, the #2 scoring defense in the country.
An amazing unit. They're relentless, aggressive, not reckless. Great checkers, sticky on ball, sticky off ball, and they're elite communicators. It's built on a structure. They build the house in front of the net, and they protect the porch. It's a man-to-man defense with zone concepts in terms of their support and double teams, and they protect that goalie, Malcolm Kleban, to perfection. 10 times this year, they've held opponents to 10 or less goals. They win face-offs. They have the nation's best man down unit. You put it all together, Denver is about defense.
Their formula today, play a game with fewer possessions, play long possessions, play late into the shot clock, and find goals in those situations. Malcolm Kleban was the Big East goalkeeper of the year. Now, the save percentage, it doesn't pop, Quint, but again, the way this defense plays, he's in a position to see a lot of good shots from his perspective.
They protect the paint, they protect the middle so well that many of the shots he sees are from the wings and from the fringes.
Notre Dame and Denver played in one of the great semifinals in 2015. The Pioneers won that game in overtime en route to their first national title. And we told you about Liam Entenmann. He is the best goalkeeper in the country, hands down. Two-time Kelly Award winner, ACC Defensive Player of the Year, ACC Goalie of the Year. He is a finalist for the Tewaaraton Award, the Heisman of college lacrosse, and he might have a chance to be the first goalie to win that award when it's handed out after the season. Officials, PJ Colello, Robert Ritchie, and Dan Belk.
Here we go. Howdy.
All-Americans Will Lynch for Notre Dame, Alex Stathakis for Denver, and it's the Irish who win the first face-off. Lynch came into the game number 2 nationally in face-off win percentage. Stathakis not far behind in the top 10. And after Notre Dame controlled the opening draw, Denver able to win it back, and the Pioneers will look to clear to set up their first possession. Denver in round 1 vaporized Michigan. In the quarterfinals, a big third quarter propelled them to a win against Syracuse. Notre Dame down at the break in round 1 against Albany, and then dispatched to Georgetown in the quarters to avenge their only loss this season. Pioneers get set on offense. This is Jack Tortolani. His dad played for Bill Tierney, the legendary head coach, who stepped away after last season for Denver. Tortolani draws traffic. Pios play it to the high wing. Irish defensively, top 5 scoring defense. Not a weakness on this team. Shot clock inside of 15.
Who's on?
Feed in front, knocked away, loose in front of the cage. Entenmann catapults out of the net. Now the Irish will set up on offense.
Looks like J.J. Silstrop of Denver really slow to come off the field behind the play.
50 in white is Chris Kavanaugh. He's Notre Dame's leading scorer. 29 in white, Devin McLean, transfer from Brown, Notre Dame's top scoring midi. And this is Jordan Faison. Now Eric Dobson, All-American midfielder, PLL draft pick. Chris Kavanaugh thought about the high wing shot, picked up by Jack DiBenedetto, one of 7 fifth-year players on this Denver team. They came back for a chance to play on this stage. Pat Kavanaugh now with his first touch. ACC Player of the Year, 3-time Tewaaraton finalist. Dobson down the alley, big left hand high. Closest to the ball when and where it goes out of bounds on a shot, awarded possession.
Nation's best offense. They eat family style. What I love about them, you've got different strengths and weaknesses in each of their games. Dobson's big, the Kavanaughs are tough, Faison is super fast.
As Kavanaugh turns the corner, missed the cage, possession to Notre Dame, and the Irish having to work against this very stout Denver defense.
So there's an assortment of skill sets on offense, and that can make it difficult to match up with. These first possessions are kind of gauging matchups, gauging defensive strategies.
Throwing jabs before haymakers. Pat Kavanaugh, bounce shot. Kleben takes away the angle. Loose near the crease. Kleben clamps down. Jake Ettinger for the Pioneers. They've got a trailer.
J.J. Silstrop is a 4-year starter for the Pioneers. Right now, trainers are working on his right shoulder. He's a calming presence. You got Lampert behind the cage, who's the ex-attackman, the quarterback. But Cody Malosky is only a freshman. He's a lefty. And they play a lot of that two-man game with Malosky and Silstrop, both lefties. So his emergence back into this game is critical.
Silstrop, their leading point scorer, their leading goal scorer. Denver patiently probes. Ty Hussey had a couple of goals in the quarterfinals. Wheels down the alley. Defended by Christian Alakwa, one of the short stick D-middies for Notre Dame. Noah Manning now. Goes back to X, big Richie Connell as they work on Silstrop. And Connell beats Entenmann upstairs. That is 6'5", 205, the Richmond transfer. He had 2 goals in round 1. It's his 18th of the season.
Grad student from Evergreen, Colorado. Big, strong, left-handed. Watch him invert from behind the net. Notre Dame is slow to double team. And he beats Entenmann up top. A great start for the Pios.
When you watch Richie Connell, what's unique about him on tape is he does not have to blow by a defender to score. He can shoot through you.
Third season with the Pioneers for Connell. Stathakis and Lynch for round 2. Lynch last year 60% plus during championship weekend. Will Donovan, the All-American, had the ground ball. Denver able to get it back. AJ Mercurio, he's a threat in transition. Expelliarmus. Here comes Ben Ramsey. Quint, when you watch tape of Denver, how does Notre Dame want to probe and attack this Denver defense?
I think you're better off attacking them from behind to out front. Notre Dame thinks they can do some wing dodges, kick it behind, and then get ball movement for step-down shots. Denver will give you the outside shot.
Second midfield creating offense. Will Angrick down the alley. Chris Kavanaugh, the quick stick finish. It's 1-1.
You're never safe against the Irish. AJ Mercurio is probably the hardest shooter on the Denver team, but the trail check creates instant offense. They will ride you day and night.
And at the other end, Angrick does a great job. There's no double team there. The defender is just cheating towards the slot area. And Kavanaugh sneaks to that back post. It's a spot feed right on the money. Once again, production depth is a massive strength for the Fighting Irish offensive team. You're going to see 3 different offensive midfield units today.
It can become a bigger weapon on Monday as well if Notre Dame gets there. Face-off violation against Notre Dame. That's 1, 3.5. And it's a 30-second man up for the opposition. Chris Kavanaugh, last week, 8 points to tie a Notre Dame single-game NCAA tournament record. Pardon me, face-off violation on Denver.
Watch how they play Jake Taylor. I think this is critical for the Irish offense. If they lock him on the crease, because of his inside shooting presence, outside shooters will emerge and dodgers from the perimeter.
Great matchup here. Pat Kavanaugh against Jimmy Freehill, the Big East Defensive Player of the Year. Kavanaugh wants a flag. Doesn't get one.
Taylor being covered by the short stick in the middle of the field. 13 in white. Pulling his man out of the middle.
Dobson's got a hammer from the outside. Now he's got the matchup for the short stick. He's been shorted a lot this season. And the guy covering him, Casey Wilson's a pretty good one. Good look there. But it misses. Devin McClain. Now they view Wilson, 59 in red, as a 5th pole. He played on Team Canada last summer at the World Games in San Diego.
It's a great unit. Wilson, Edinger, Dan Anderson, 27 in crimson.
Shot clock coming up on 10. Kavanaugh snakes around the crease. Feeds Taylor. Turbo. Ooh. Between the leg shot. It's not there. And Denver plays it back to Kleben.
He has got a bag of magic tricks, whether it's one-handed, twisters, behind the backs, shovel shots.
Mercurio's shot turned away by Entenmann. Now, Denver's a team. They like to be patient on offense, Kark. But if there's something there in the first 20 seconds of the shot clock, they will go.
That's right, Anish. And they have poles that can shoot, and you watch them in warm-ups. Every long stick, close defender, long stick midi is involved in the shooting drill. So yes, they like to play the 6-on-6 settle game, but if they strike in transitions with shorties or pulls, those guys have the green light because they can shred it.
And by the way, happy birthday, Paul Carcaterra, who last night ate his cake before blowing out the candle.
At 49, I deserve to make the call.
Riley Gray doubled. Over to Chris Cavanaugh. Di Benedetto on him. Di Benedetto, terrific last week against Joey Spallina. Cavanaugh changes direction, got top side, no angle. Kleben is there. 3 saves early for the senior.
That's a great example of Denver's defense. Yeah, we'll give you a shot, but it's going to be from the wing. It's going to be from the fringes. Kleben's a big cat between the pipes, and he fills it up.
J.J. Silstrop back out there for Denver, camped out behind the cage. Stephen Avery, senior out of Nashville. All conference last year, struggled with his shooting accuracy this year. There's the skip pass. Malowski, who had a big quarterfinals, tries to play it back to the speedy Lampert. Sean Light, 90 in white. Just a true freshman, second-team All-American, creating havoc. Here come the Irish. They've got the run out. Pat Cavanaugh, shot scored.
When you watch the Irish on offense, it is straight theater. Players like Jake Taylor will go between the legs and put pressure on a defense and make you think. And then there's the functionality of the school's all-time leading scorer, 51 in white. Pat Cav has come to the party.
Anish, Shroff, Quint, Kessenich, Paul Carcaterra, Pat Cavanaugh, and Chris Cavanaugh, and also older brother Matt, who played many years ago for Notre Dame Q. They are the first family of Notre Dame lacrosse. Toughness is in their mitochondria. We saw that during championship weekend last year.
These guys took a major beating, whether it was high hits, late hits, but they're the catalysts, okay? They're going to beat you, whether it's goals and assists, ground ball plays, they're riding. There's a certain energy component that comes from 50 and 51. Play like a champion? Well, if you're Notre Dame lacrosse, you're playing like a Cavanaugh.
Notre Dame, the defending national champion last season. First title in men's lacrosse in program history, looking to repeat. And talking to Pat and Chris yesterday, you win 2 titles. Notre Dame might be the most recognizable brand, or one of the most recognizable brands in sports, not just college sports, but Notre Dame lacrosse has had a long road. You're now talking about Notre Dame lacrosse now moving into that blue blood territory, Quint.
They started a varsity program back in 1989. It took them 35 years to win their first title, emboldened by that gold trophy. They've almost been unbeatable this year. Only 1 loss, late February against Georgetown in overtime.
And Carc, last year, the big theme was revenge. They were left out of the tournament in 2022. Did not deserve that. They went scorched earth on folks last year. This year, you talk to the players who say, hey, we got a taste. We want more.
I almost think in East, they're trying to prove a point to tell people we're here to stay. We're better than last year. You have to deal with us. I mean, this team has no weaknesses up and down, from Entenmann to Cavanaugh and everyone in between. You feel like there's a focus. There's a relaxed focus, but they know they're the best team in college lacrosse.
Connell again on the invert. This time Entenmann takes away that high shot. Connell went right back to it.
Beat me once, you're not going to beat me twice. That's the mind game of the veteran Liam Entenmann.
Ben Ramsey, 24 in white. Our first team All-American, D-Midi. Slippage on the wing. And the Irish will reset here. 21 in white, Carter Parlett. You talk to his teammates, they say he's the unsung hero of this Notre Dame squad. Does a lot that doesn't show up in the box score.
going back to that shot by Connell. If you're Connell, you've got to understand you're playing against Liam, who's super smart. He's thinking that you're going to go high again. You got to mix it up.
Jalen Seymour running out of the box. Notre Dame flaunting its depth right now. 10 minutes into the game. Here's their third midfield. Fisher Finley. Got a great look. Kleben makes the save. It'll stay with the Irish. Shot clock resets on a shot that hits the pipe or is saved by the goalie, and the reset is to 60.
This is not like old North Carolina. You bring in 5 different players and you stall. These guys have the green light. They continue to apply pressure.
Pat Cavanaugh's got a goal. His shot altered. Seymour's got the backup.
Looks like Denver's been a little slow to double team and to slide today, kind of forcing Notre Dame into individual isolations. They've been a great passing team this year, so I understand that strategy.
Fisher Finley draws the slide. Seymour's got great size at 6'4". Now Bryce Walker from Austin, Texas. Skip pass. Seymour spun around. He hits the deck. Ball's on the ground. And we're going to get a loose ball push. It's against the Irish. Denver ball.
You'll see this defense from Denver. They'll pack it in, but they play the ball aggressive. So 5 guys kind of compact inside. The one on the ball will pressure.
Mick Kelly, 21 in red. 5 points in round 1. Had the opening goal of the quarterfinal win against Syracuse. Alley dodge from the Pios. Here's Silstrop, defended by Marco Napolitano. Now Tortolani, picked up by the freshman Light. Denver attacks the shorties. Malowski, the redshirt freshman, plays it behind the cage to Speedy Lampert. Just 5'7". He's lightning in a shot glass. That one knocked down by Will Donovan. Battled for the loose ball. And Chris Conlon comes away with it for Notre Dame. 4 turnovers for the Pios. Card from a pace standpoint. 2-1 game, late first quarter. You got to like this if you're Denver.
Absolutely. You're playing a half-field game against the Irish, and you guys were talking about the depth, and I had them in the quarterfinals against Georgetown. They roll out their third midfield early, but it pays dividends late. Most teams offensively, if you're deep, you have 9. Notre Dame has 12, so they'll handle these body punches, and then in the third and fourth quarter, they can separate from you.
Denver continuing to short stick Jake Taylor, putting a midfield defender on that crease attackman, basically playing a 5-man rotation, shutting him off. You'll see him set picks.
He sets the pick for Faison, who doubles as an Irish wide receiver, but it was an illegal pick. Faison was the MVP of the Sun Bowl, one of 2 bowl game MVPs on this Notre Dame roster, along with former Notre Dame and former Alabama quarterback Tyler Buckner.
Who can win a matchup if you're Denver? They have preferred to attack through the midfield.
Kark, we've seen them have some success with the invert. We saw Connell get a couple of good looks.
And I think it's critical for them to do that. Notre Dame with their defensive middies like Ben Ramsey, 24 and white. Carter Parlett, you mentioned him. He's on the ball right now. They play such good defense, forcing you down the alley. When you can attack from behind the crease, potentially, you could jam it in there.
How about Ramsey? That's 2 caused turnovers for the first-team All-American in this opening quarter.
And I like the fact that Notre Dame now, first-time grounders in the defensive zone. Those are defensive kills. It's a one-and-done scenario.
Less than 90 seconds to go, semifinal number 1. First trip for Denver to championship weekend since 2017. Irish, the defending national champion. Virginia, Maryland later today to fill out that championship game Polaroid. Free Hill eyeing Pat Cavanaugh, 51 and white. Best player in the history of Notre Dame lacrosse. using the pick. Skip to his brother Chris. Behind the back, flying toward the cage. They will talk about it.
I think it's going to count.
And it's good.
I think it's going to count. He stays out of the goal mouth. This is gorgeous. This is two brothers playing in the backyard.
He did it last week too, Q. In the quarterfinals against Georgetown, the same type of shot. Instead of putting your left hand, go airborne, young man, and stick it.
It's a backside cut. They've got eyes for each other. The catch, and watch him plant. The goal mouth is in lacrosse to allow the dive, but also to protect the goaltender. And he does such a wonderful job of diving to the tangent of that inner cone. He's allowed to land in that outer portion of the crease.
Now that goal mouth, that semicircle in front of the cage, you cannot land in there after a goal. The crease is there. If you step in the crease, obviously they blow the play dead, but you are allowed to dive in the crease as long as the ball crosses the goal line before you land in the crease. So 2 goals for Chris Kavanaugh, and the Kavanaugh brothers,
All right, now we're ready to go.
surprise, surprise, have had a hand in all 3 Notre Dame goals.
Down.
Lynch and Stathakis. The wings get involved, and that ball goes out of bounds. Who touched it last? Denver did.
I think the big issue now is, as we finish up this first quarter for Denver, is going to be how can we put pressure on Liam Entenmann? How can we score goals? Their defense has actually done okay under the vision of Notre Dame averaging 16 goals per game.
Now the issue for Denver, they only have 3 shots in the first quarter to 5 turnovers. And if Notre Dame gets out to an early lead, the danger for Denver, you now have to change your tempo and play faster, and that plays into the hands of the Irish. Notre Dame will wait for one final possession here. Game clock inside of 10. Dobson, the high dodge. He's a lefty, shoots with the right hand. Kleben with the body save. Time expires, quarter number 1. Denver fired the opening salvo with Richie Connell. The Kavanaugh brothers had the answer. They played like a champion last year. Chris with 2 goals. Pat, a goal and an assist. It's the Irish with a 3-1 lead after 15 minutes. Back here in Philadelphia, championship weekend 2024. Notre Dame with a 3-1 lead on Denver. After 1 quarter of play, the Irish 4 for 5 on faceoffs. Denver held to 3 shots, and it's become a tired refrain, but Quint play the hits. Kavanaugh and Kavanaugh.
Now, Pat Kavanaugh, he's the head of the snake. He's the catalyst. Chris Kavanaugh had the big week last weekend. He wears 50 in white. And look at 51 with the burst of speed, okay? The maturation of the younger Kavanaugh. These 2 brothers from Long Island. 2 of 6 children, Kevin and Mary, young hockey fans. They grew up huge Ranger and Islander fan. They forecheck, they check hard, and they have achieved a level of competitive excellence. I'm honestly, it's very rare.
Spent some time with them last year, gentlemen, and the amount of energy and focus that they had in the backyard as kids, like nothing scripted. Everything was totally freelance, and you saw that last goal by Chris Kavanaugh. That is something that is specific to the backyard, and you can't think about it. It's all your instincts kicking in.
You mentioned the Kavanaugh brothers being Ranger fans. They're excited about the Rangers postseason run. Pat, when he is in non-lacrosse clothing, loves to wear a 1994 Rangers Stanley Cup champion hat that looks like it's been through more wars than the hat that Kevin Corrigan wears on the sideline. Malowski all the way to the cage. Entenmann standing tall. And he was in the crease. Malowski is a good-looking redshirt freshman. Dad Kurt is the head coach in the NLL, also in the Canadian Lacrosse Hall of Fame.
Yeah, Cody's from British Columbia. He's kind of a curveball when it comes to this offense. A lot of straight line guys. And Malowski plays in script.
so slick when you watch him play. They redshirted him, so he came in January of last year, and I think Bill Tierney wanted to push Matt Brown, who was the offensive coordinator at that time, to play Malowski. He said patience, they had to put some weight on the guy, and the rest is history.
In the crease, Notre Dame gives it right back.
See Faison's burst, slot receiver for Marcus Freeman and the Fighting Irish on the football side of things. He can separate quickly. You see that separation quickness is vital for a lacrosse play.
Seeing a lot of crossover in lacrosse of late. Pat Spencer, a star at Loyola, now with the Golden State Warriors. Jared Bernhardt, a Tewaaraton winner at Maryland, made the Atlanta Falcons roster a few years back. Obviously, Chris Hogan played lacrosse, played in the NFL. Cole Kastner, who you'll see later from Virginia today, will play basketball at Stanford next year. Equalizer for Denver. It's the speedy Lampert. Career point number 100. Well, not the equalizer, makes it 3-2. Gets Denver closer.
Very quick. Energy spark. He's got the matchup against the short stick defender. Okay, typically Notre Dame would double team, but they leave him on an island. And Lampert makes him pay. The senior from Massachusetts, an energy guy, an ankle breaker, great acceleration. Turn the corner.
Shot out of a cannon. I talked to him yesterday. He said his idol growing up was Jordan Wolfe, the straight line speed dodges, the afterburners, and what a story he was in high school. No one recruited him. He had one Division I offer. It was Denver. He bet on himself. He's undersized, but he's full gas when he goes to the rack.
2 goals in the quarterfinals. First team all Big East.
Down.
It's a little bit of a communication issue in this venue. Huge crowd, it's noisy downstairs. You got to think that Liam Entenmann was barking to his team. Who's going? Who's hot? Who's the double team? And sometimes those messages don't land.
Notre Dame trouble with the clear. They turn it over. Hangland across the equator for Denver. Now the Pios with a chance to tie.
Keep an eye on Silstrop. He has a massive wrap on his right shoulder. You saw him leave the game in the first quarter, and I think it's important. He's able to carry the ball, too, with a 2-quarterback system with Lampert and Silstrop. 5 in red. Can he handle the pressure and the pounding with that shoulder?
Silstrop is a lefty. Silstrop without a shot today. Last week in the quarters, he went an entire half without a shot as well. Backhanded shot by Carlson, not there. Save Entenmann, shot clock reset. Denver able to maintain possession. Lampert, eyes up light.
Okay, that's okay. You got a little life on the Denver bench, Anish. Take this baby 15 rounds. That's what they want to do, because the burden of pressure will shift to the Notre Dame sideline.
Malowski maneuvering around the crease. Silstrop lays it back up top. Still plenty of time to shoot after the reset. Good look, and a score! Stephen Avery, the senior from Nashville, who was 6 for 43 shooting on the season prior to that one.
You can't spell Denver without defense and creating turnovers.
And they cash in here. Avery maximizes his potential with a packed-in Notre Dame defense. You have the best goalie in school history in Entenmann. You want to force outside shots. Avery sets his feet. He uses the earth with an old-school bounce shot.
Yeah, and he was a guy last year, shot 38%. He was second-team all-conference, had a 7-goal game against Ohio State. If Denver can get him activated, boy, it adds another weapon to an offense that at times has not had a lot of punch this season.
And that pattern was just gorgeous. You draw the double team. Notre Dame fills to the crease. They create that skip lane. The midfielder scrapes to space, and he's looking Liam Entenmann in the eye from dead center. It's gorgeous offense.
Notre Dame wins another face-off, 7 of 8. Will Lynch has been terrific in this NCAA tournament, 75% coming in the first 2 games. Last year, going into championship weekend, he was under 50% for the season. And Carp, we wondered if that would be Notre Dame's big Achilles heel, considering Virginia had Petey LaSalle, Duke had Jake Naso, and Will Lynch played his best lacrosse of the season on the biggest stage.
There's so much tread on his tire. I mean, we went to Chaminade High School where Tyler Sandoval was there as a face-off guy. James Ball, Machado Rodriguez. These are Yale and Princeton type Division I face-off guys. Will Lynch was a two-way midi. He took some face-offs to spell those guys, but when he came to Notre Dame, he was fresh. He had to figure out the college game, and he has been incredible.
Kavanaugh, face on, lost it. Now Denver has the pendulum swinging to its side. A chance to retake the lead.
That's the jumbled mess that Denver wants to create in that slot area.
Ettinger, a captain from Tully, New York. Outside of the Syracuse area.
He's going back to face-offs. Alex Stathikas of Denver, typically a slow starter, known for his adjustments. He's got to make some right now.
Stathikas' football background, fullback, linebacker type. Good matchup here. The big Connell against Ramsey. Connell Amtrak's down the alley, spins it back to X. Sills drop, D'd up by Conlon. Noah Manning out there. Denver will mix and match its midfield units. Shot on the run. Entenmann keeps it in front. Donovan grabs the rebound. Donovan in transition. Does Notre Dame push? Here's Kavanaugh. He's got a trailer. Hits the trailer. Buckner. Shot. Save. Kleben. There's the former Notre Dame and Alabama quarterback. 6 saves now for the Denver senior in cage.
Textbook trailer break. Really well orchestrated by Notre Dame. Carry in, throw it down the side, and behind the play, here comes Buckner. Incredible story. His path from Notre Dame football to Alabama football, back to Notre Dame lacrosse.
It's actually Michigan lacrosse at the early stages. He committed to John Paul in 8th grade to play lacrosse at Michigan. Then his football career in Southern California took off, and he was a quarterback for Notre Dame. And as you mentioned, Quint, Alabama back here with the Fighting Irish as the 4th short stick D-midi and just adding more depth to this team.
And he's got another year left of eligibility. Denver able to retain possession. Shot clock hits 20. Lampert and Light. Malowski the pick man. Lampert trying to get a step. Light stays with him. Shot clock down to 10. Denver comfortable late in the shot clock. Oh, now you're gonna have to throw it away. Kelly with 2. With 1 shot save. Entenmann over to Ramsey. Notre Dame, Kark, has not really been able to exert its pace of play in this game.
You know, Anish, I think it's interesting when you look at Notre Dame, because right now we're not seeing a tremendous amount of running gun. Do they continue to use the 9 midfielders on offense? So they shorten the bench right here to give some more potent plays.
Kleben turns that one away. That was Angrick to Buzenkill, second midfield for Notre Dame. Now the ride. The Kavanaughs, Piranhas, Kavanaugh, Chris wins it back.
And that's juice. That's what the Kavanaughs do. They do not take a single second or play off, and they generate now this second chance. But Kleben with a terrific inside body stop.
Kleben's got 7 saves.
Do you ride more if you're Notre Dame? Do you bring out your 9.5 or 10-man full court press?
And Pat Kavanaugh using the pick.
And do you stay with Jake Taylor if he's being face guarded by a shorty here?
Hangman now for Kavanaugh, probing, looking, dancing. Missed the cage. Riley Gray, the backup.
You watch Pat Kavanaugh over the years. His left hand has improved so much. Goes to the rack there for the question mark, but he could close it with the left hand as well.
I think I like Notre Dame's matchups through the attack so far better than from the midfield in this game.
This is Chris Kavanaugh, 2 goals today.
This is trouble for Denver. Great D on the corner. Great D on the corner.
That was Casey Wilson, their top shorty. Now Pat Cavanaugh, bounce shot, 8th save for Cleveland. He's come up big. Angrick on the rebound, hits the crossbar. Big ground ball, restraining area. Bodies flying. Loose ball push against Notre Dame. Denver ball. Angland came off the field. In the first quarter, Notre Dame had a 12-3 shot advantage. Denver, 6-5 shot advantage here in the second quarter.
Connell looks like the primary initiator for Denver.
Big left-handed shot from the outside. Entenmann gobbles.
There's the elite hand speed from Liam Entenmann, the great balance. The shooter gives you that low release, that hip release, maybe sidearm. You see the Entenmann's body and his knees bend where he's almost down on his knees, but he keeps his right hand up by his eye, and pop! He moves the head of his stick to snag that one out of the air. That's why he's the best goalie in the country.
Quint, you know what I've noticed with Denver offensively? They're finding those step downs. Entenmann's made the last 2 saves. Avery scored on that, but it looks like that might be the soft spot for Denver. Those 10-yard step downs in the middle of the offensive set.
Third midfield on for Notre Dame. Finley, Walker, and Seymour. The 6'4" Jalen Seymour. Bryce Walker, great feet inside, slam dunk. Jake Taylor, 5th-year senior out of Denver, who was tutored as a kid by Pioneers head coach Matt Brown.
Ding in the iron, Will Angrick from point-blank range. At the other end, Liam Entenmann is like Spider-Man. Jake Taylor doesn't miss from close. Irish by 1.
Joining Don Zimmerman, Dave Klarman, John Desko, and Connor Busick.
Matt telling me yesterday, people have created this tradition, whether it was his classmates back in 2005, their first win over Denver, or whether it was the next generation when Coach Tierney with that NCAA appearance, an NCAA championship.
Denver loses another face-off battle. Notre Dame dominating at the X.
Matt Brown, to me, most impressive. They stayed in personality last week in the quarterfinals. All 60 minutes against Syracuse. He knows what this team is about. They're about defense, opportunistic offense, and they'll figure things out at halftime. They want to get to halftime, keep this maybe a 2-goal margin. I think they'd be happy.
They've been a strong third-quarter team most of the season. Had 6 in the third last week.
I was just in the defensive huddle. John Gallant, the defensive coordinator, said they're too eager inside, and then Jordan Faison makes him pay for the wing. But he was concerned with the way they were playing defense in the middle and protecting the paint where Jake Taylor was, Anish and Quint. That time, it didn't even need to get inside because the quick, speedy Faison made him pay.
Pinecrest, Florida. He's only a freshman, more than 20 goals this season. Burst onto the scene right away. Had 3 goals against Cleveland State. Slot receiver on the football team. By the end of last season, you ask anybody associated with the program, he was their best wide receiver. MVP in the Sun Bowl. You see the quiet confidence now building. This spring, double duty, spring football and lacrosse. And now he's kind of turned it up a notch here in May.
Yeah, his feet are ridiculous. You saw the hard plant foot with that right foot to get the defender to bite to the middle of the field, and he doesn't lose much of an angle because of the way that he approached that dodge. He wasn't too straight. He was kind of sideways with his plant foot, so when he came out and he escaped, he had so much net.
He came to Notre Dame on a lacrosse scholarship, walked onto the football team. Now he's on a full scholarship for football. Lynch shovels it back. Another face-off win for Notre Dame. And Lynch has won 8 in a row. The Irish have won all but one face-off today.
Jordan's really humble. What stands out when we watched him over the landscape of the season, Carc, the improvement in his shooting. Righty,
I
lefty.
would agree 100%. With his left hand as well.
Yeah.
As the year progressed, you didn't see him just dodging to his strong right hand. And this is a guy who did not play fall ball, like parachuted in after the bowl game, and to see him evolve and close that gap from a college lacrosse perspective, which is so hard from a skill standpoint.
Chris Kavanaugh looking to shake DiBenedetto.
It's a very important 3-minute stretch now if you're a Denver fan.
Behind the cage, Buzenkill takes a hit. Back up to Denver. Max Buzenkill, sophomore from right outside the Philadelphia area, part of that second midfield, which has helped produce a goal earlier today, and they've got a goal with the third midfield on as well. Trouble with the clear. This could be dangerous. We're going to get a whistle. It's going to be a loose ball push on Notre Dame.
Pat Kavanaugh is fired up. 51. They're barking at the refs.
Carlson behind the cage now. And that's going to be an illegal screen. Back to Notre Dame.
Screens and picks, really identical to basketball. You have to be stationary. You must be in your frame, your shoulders and your hips. You can't like use your stick and stick it out to like a toll booth.
I mean, you can. It's just not legal. Timeout, Kevin Corrigan and Notre Dame.
Yeah, I was in the offensive huddle with Kevin Corrigan, who's masterful at drawing things up. I think they're going to start this Dodge bench side because they have a lot of righty shooters, guys like Jake Taylor and Pat Kavanaugh. So bench side, I will expect the Dodge to come, but they're shutting off Faison right now, and that was probably the trigger man, 14 in white.
So they put the pole on 14 in white, which kind of changes the play. We'll see if McLean becomes the initiator.
He's got the short stick. Ettinger gives it up. Freehill shading Kavanaugh. That's big brother Pat. Now picked up on the switch. Again, another moving screen.
Moving picks and screens, that was a point of emphasis back in February when the season started. Did not seem to be an issue all season long until today. Is that 3 calls of that nature?
Kevin Corrigan lost his hat.
Well,
Timeout, Matt Brown.
Matt Brown was losing it earlier. Now Kevin Corrigan's going to lose it. That dog can bark, man.
You want a lip read? I'm sure Carr can hear most of it.
I'm in the huddle right now with Dave Metzbauer. You guys mentioned Bill Tierney. He was part of those 6 national titles as his offensive coordinator. He's the offensive coordinator right now, came over from North Carolina. When you think about breaking down plays and finding weaknesses in the defense, although Notre Dame doesn't have many, who's better than Metzbauer at it, Quint?
Awesome access, Carc. Unbelievable. We got to get you with a whiteboard and maybe have Metzi draw that up after the huddle.
Isn't it amazing,
that's
though?
Great stuff.
It speaks to the adaptability of Denver's coaches. Matt Brown and Dave Metzbauer are 2 of the best offensive minds in lacrosse, but they see their personnel, and this is one of the best defensive teams in the country. And you play to the horses you have. Is Connell turning the corner?
Connell's been a menace, hasn't he?
He's had some really good looks today, the best of any Pioneer.
He's gigantic, and when he gets a head of steam up, he's tough to stop, and right now Notre Dame does not want to send the double team his way.
Great matchup here. Light can match feet with Lampert. Connell sets the pick. Lampert turns the corner. Napolitano jumped on him. McKelly against Donovan. We come up on 30 seconds to play in this first half, about a 4.5 second differential between game clock and shot clock. Lampert again. First team all Big East, calling for the pick. And gets it to Connell. Now Silstrop, who's been quiet. He's Denver's leading scorer. No shots today. McKelly, shot clock into single digits. Good look here, potentially. Connell turns and scores. His second of the half, Richie Connell. And Denver pulls to 1.
That's called big boy lacrosse, and it pays to be 6'5", Richie Connell. Quint, you called it out. He's feeling hot right now, and he buries this one.
Kelly does a great job. 21 in the crimson up top. Back and forth, yo-yoing. He rolls back to his right. Connell senses that and sneaks from behind the net. And again, that frame, he's 6'5". You see Ramsey, 24, try to block that shot. For whatever reason, Entenmann's down on a knee. Connell's got a pair.
Moving upfield with the pass, too. That is elite awareness, not to park yourself on goal line extended, to catch and have your feet moving in unison.
He was lightly recruited out of high school. His first head coach at college, Dan Shamati, was stunned when he first saw him. This guy's huge. How come nobody's on him?
Homegrown. Denver has always thrived with Colorado, California, and Canada kids.
Time expires. Half number 1. The Pioneers within striking distance. Only down a goal to a Notre Dame team that entered the national semifinals as the overwhelming favorite, not just in Philadelphia, but in this tournament. And the Pioneers have stayed with the Fighting Irish. Paul?
Michael, as the leader of the Denver offense, what's critical for your offense?
Just keep moving the ball, finding our shots. Entenmann's a good goalie, but we're getting our looks, so keep hitting those shots. Some of them will fall in the second half.
You specifically, what's the best way to attack the All-American Sean Light?
Just keep running. He's a good player. He's got a long stick, big range, but I feel I can get him tripping up in the second half, so I just got to keep running.
Thank you, Michael.
Yeah, thanks.
Halftime score in semifinal number 1. The top seed, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, winners of 12 straight. They've got 5. The Pioneers of Denver with 4. Rocky was the ultimate underdog. Denver a big underdog today, but hanging with the favorite. Only down a goal after one half of play in semifinal number 1. Championship weekend, Philadelphia. Anish, Shroff, Quint, Kessenich. We'll hear from Paul Carcaterra in a moment. This is how Matt Brown drew it up. Stay close, play a physical brand, and make this a 4-quarter game. Like you said, 15 rounds. Denver's on its way.
Take them into deep water and see what they have in this 4th quarter. So if you're Denver, you're really happy. One thing to note, both teams are excellent at making halftime adjustments, which makes this 3rd quarter really fascinating.
Defense dominated most of this first half.
You understand, this is game 7, okay? There is no tomorrow for the loser of this game. So every ground ball confrontation, NCAA tournament ground balls, physical man-on-man confrontations, it's everything. It's all or nothing in this game. And both teams playing with physicality while staying out of the penalty box.
Offensively, Kavanaugh to Kavanaugh 41 times. We've seen those brothers connect for a goal.
They have magic together. Notre Dame needs more of that. I think the weakness in this Denver defense, because of this matchup, is down low with the Kavanaughs. Denver's offense at times has looked awesome. Avery with a high percentage shot. Then Kelly finds Connell, and Richie Connell suddenly unstoppable from Matt Brown.
Paul, you spoke to Matt Brown. What did he tell you?
Well, Anish, Denver is getting absolutely dominated at the face-off X, 10-1, and Alex Stathakis is having some issues with Will Lynch from an individual perspective, but he thinks the wings can do a better job. He said they fanned on some balls in the middle of the field when he thought Alex Stathakis was going toe-to-toe with Will Lynch. He also feels Notre Dame is so good in the scrambled sets. They have to clear the ball at a super high level. But keep in mind, too, offensively, if they're going to score some goals, I think J.J. Silstrop's health is paramount in the second half because he is their leading scorer coming into today. He's got 0 shots.
Oh, we saw that last week, too. He had no shots in the first half against Syracuse, did finish with 2 goals.
Silstrop sets the tone for this offense. You go back to week 1. Upset win at Hopkins when they were down by a handful. It was all Silstrop.
Stathakis had the face-off one, then coughs it up. Unsettled Notre Dame. And how is that not a push from the back? It should be. They'll say in the crease.
Wow. Oh, wow.
Wow.
Denver got lucky there. Stathakis wins the face-off, which was hard to come by in the first half, and they lose the battle of the ground ball where Kavanaugh, I thought from this angle, I'm right on that same level as Kavanaugh right now. He was clearly pushed.
Now, they've been calling it tight, but let them play there. Go figure.
Left side of your screen. Off the turnover now. Contact stat. That is a maybe at best a loose ball push. It could have been even a push with possession.
And remember, Notre Dame's got the best man-up offense in the country, historically good. Denver has the best man-down defense in the country. We've yet to see an EMO. Kelly wheeling down the alley all the way, and Antiman goes low to make the save. 7 saves now for the 2-time Kelly Award winner. That honor goes to the top goalie in the country. First midfield for Notre Dame was quiet in that first half.
We thought, talking to Chris Wojcik, the offensive coordinator for Notre Dame, we thought step-down shots off a ball movement, wing dodges through X and out the opposite side would result in some Eric Dobson good looks from 12, 13 yards. We haven't seen that. There hasn't been much ball reversal for Notre Dame.
Devin McClain, their top scoring midi. Kavanaugh, he can attack from anywhere. He's comfortable up top. Turbines away from his defender. Shoots on the run and scores. That's 2 for Pat Kavanaugh.
The Kavanaughs are going to be the matchup superiority for Notre Dame. They drive the bus. Now is the time to run the offense through Chris and Pat Kavanaugh.
Look at the save by Liam Entenmann. First team All-American, ice in the veins. Quint, this is where Pat Kavanaugh's game has evolved the most, I think, between last year and this year. He is dodging all over the offensive set. His wing dodge puts close defenders in such a pickle because they're used to playing the contact game behind the cage and on goal line extended. He plays in space and he dominates the matchup.
The regular season game against Duke this year, he brought one of the best defenders in the country, Kenny Brower, out to that high wing. And what did he have? 7 points in that game.
Yeah, that move set up a clean pick. He's able to run downhill with the football hash marks that you can't see on the field, thankfully.
Lynch wins the faceoff. He has won 11 of 13. Second midfield runs on for Notre Dame. Angrick, Buzenkill, and Gray. Buzenkill from the Philly area. Over to Pat Kavanaugh. Little 2-man game. Freehill stays with Pat. This is Chris Kavanaugh. Taylor went down. Chris Kavanaugh against the short stick.
We got the switch. Advantage Notre Dame.
A really good short stick though in Casey Wilson, who poses his physicality.
Pitchforked him out of the offensive zone.
Shot clock down to 12. Pat Kavanaugh slips. Freehill trying to get to his hands. 5 to shoot. Kavanaugh. High dodge, lost the ball. Turnover. Edinger the other way.
John Gallant, the defensive coordinator, helping in that clear. You can see him.
Quick shot too high. Silstrop as the backup for Denver. Clark told you earlier in the game, J.J. Silstrop went out, got his shoulder wrapped.
You know, guys, J.J. Silstrop is a lefty, and it's his right shoulder, but that's the biggest issue, too, because as a lefty, you lean. And when you're a two-handed cradle guy and you like to get on goal line extended and play some contact game and slip like Silstrop does, you lead with your right shoulder. So that's the biggest issue for him going one-on-one in this game.
Lampert gets the pick from Tortolani. Again, using that two-man game, Light stays with his matchup. Now Tortolani against the short stick. Inside roll. Gives it back to Lampert. Wing feed, Noah Manning, 20-plus goals for the Pioneers. Less than 20 to shoot. Olowski against the first-team All-American Ramsey. Spins it back, step-down opportunity. And it whistles wide. Shot clock at 13. 86 miles per hour from Silstrop.
Great handle by Malowski, dealing with the double team.
Lampert, 7 to shoot. That hits the side of the net, and it trickles in. Entenmann can't believe it. Denver gets a goal. It's 6-5.
One man's trash, another man's treasure. Watch this ball kick around off the Lampert shot. Poked by Malowski. Crashed the crease. Young man who played in the indoor game.
You know, Quint, I think there's opportunities with Lampert with the speed game. Sean Light has played as well as any freshman defender in the country, and he's been masterful in the one-on-one matchups. But I think Lampert, if he took another step there, he could have cashed that in on Liam Entenmann. If I'm Michael Lampert, I am playing completely in space against Sean Light, because if you get into the body on 90 in white, he will gobble you up.
Crash the goal for rebounds. Malowski kind of with a pool cue of a poke. And if you're Entenmann, clamp. Use that big head of the goalie stick to clamp the ball and then turn and rake it away from the opponent.
Denver refusing to go away. Notre Dame's largest lead in this game, 2 goals at 3-1, at 5-3, and 6-4. Denver led 1-0. They have not led since. McKelly. There's Carlson. Big 6'1" redshirt junior out of Colorado. Comes back to Kelly. 5 points in round 1. Feeding the wing. Ball on the ground. Malowski having trouble. Able to recover. Now lost it. It's Ross Bergmaster, who you call the bag master. He's the bag piper for Notre Dame. Comes up with the ball. Entenmann today not wearing his customary number 44, wearing number 40 in honor of the late, great Notre Dame captain Mike Sennett, nicknamed Steel, who passed away at the age of 38 back in 2007. Very little in transition, unsettled sets for Notre Dame today. Dobson, crease feed, shot, score. That is McLean, and it's 7-5.
Leading goal scorer from the midfield in the ACC. A Brown grad transfer who played up in Providence with the ball in his stick quite a bit. This year, more of an off-ball presence. He's shooting just a slither under 50%. He has been automatic in those spots. And Quint, when you put him and Jake Taylor inside, it is problems.
Dobson snaps that feed right on the money and catches Denver where their second slide, their help slide to the interior was a little late, and McLean got leverage.
McLean, 18 goals in his last 6. 6 straight multi-goal games entering championship weekend, including 4 hat tricks in that span. And that's his 7th of this NCAA tournament. We're going to have a hold. First they said it was Notre Dame ball. Now they say Denver ball, the hold on Notre Dame. Donovan picks up Noah Manning. Out of the box, Ty Hussey. He had a couple of goals in that quarterfinal win last week against the Cuse. Tortolani trying to get away from Donovan, the All-American. He's got to give it up, and Denver will reset. Silstrop against Conlin. Down the alley on Ramsey. Denver gets the step. Feed inside. Entenmann denies on the doorstep. 9 saves for the goalie of the year.
Pipe-to-pipe agility.
Adventurous clear. Ramsey gets it to Alakwa. Notre Dame has scored on 4 of its last 5 shots. It's an Irish team that is 34-3 in its last 37 games. Dobson to the left hand, and he unleashes the cannon. Largest lead of the game for either team.
2 future stars in the PLL. Entenmann, and the ability to move pipe to pipe. Point blank in the stick at the other end. The senior from Fleming Island, Florida, with a flamethrower on the run.
And then you have the family aspect. You saw Tom Schreiber with his dad, Doug, and just that connection from father to son. And there's so many great stories in the PLL, and the league continues to be like a rocket ship. And I think this year we're going to have some awesome opportunities with different fan bases coming to the party, right? Because this is the first time there's a geographical and regional affiliation with all these clubs. So you're going to have fans that start to really get behind these clubs.
Albany, ABC. Clark, tell me the first time you saw that commercial, you didn't think that Schreiber was actually Tommy and not his dad.
Exactly.
Are they clones or what?
Yes.
That's crazy how similar they looked at that age.
Well, Clark, in this game, this feels like a critical tipping point for Denver. You're down 3, you can still play your game. Get down 4, all of a sudden, the tempo speeds up, and it favors Notre Dame heavily.
Yeah, you're going to have to run with the runner and the depth of Notre Dame. This is a team that just throws so many at you. 12 deep offensively. They got the 4 short stick D-middies, so you're going to have to match their best in the 4th quarter when they've had more players on the field for the first 3.
Second midfield getting run for Notre Dame. Pat Cavanaugh. There's the wing dodge again. Slinkies his way down to goal line extended. Angrick now had an assist dodging from that high wing. Riley Gray has been a veteran on the Notre Dame midfield for the last few years. There's Chris Cavanaugh. Finds Taylor. There's that sneaky shot. We get a flag down, first penalty. And now we get to see strength on strength. Notre Dame's historically good man up. It's clicking at 71%. At that rate, it would be an NCAA record since they started keeping track of man up efficiency. Denver holding teams to 16% on the extra man, tops in the nation.
They get you on so many different levels. You got the outside shooters.
That was on red 16,
Dobson.
unnecessary, 1 minute. Red 16, unnecessary, 1 minute.
Taylor, known for his enthusiasm, his intellect, and his sense of humor. Sense of theater a bit here, too. When contact is made, he
got the 2 inside guys on this unit that make it really difficult.
Embellishes a bit there. A great player who was got his origins through this Denver pipeline, the Denver Elite Club program.
Grew up in Denver. Matt Brown coached him when he was 8 years old, and he credits a lot of his playing style to Matt Brown and the way Matt Brown played as a player. Now the surgical man-up offense against this lockdown, man-down defense. Kavanaugh took the outside shot.
Their splits are super tight, Anish. They're giving up like an 11-yard shot. Very condensed. Dobson's begging for the rock.
Dobson gets it, cranks the left hand to the backup to McLean.
That was my point earlier, gentlemen. The point here that you have to deal with this unit is Dobson stretches you, Taylor has you inside, and then you have the feeder in Kavanaugh. So it's pick your poison. That's why it's the best of all time.
Anish, great look here from our camera crew, director Aladdin Freeman.
Oh.
Dobson shot blocked.
You want no part of what Dobson's dishing out at 99 miles an hour, 100 plus. With Denver continuing to block shots this season. They've done this all year long.
And Notre Dame turns it over. So in a first battle between the best man up and the best man down unit in the country, a win for Denver. Pios give it right back. Here comes Pat Kavanaugh leading the charge. Finds his brother Chris, who provides the exclamation.
Irish Nation feels it. Matt Brown specifically told me we have to be better in the scramble game. Well, don't create a scramble against Notre Dame because they play in the gray as well as any team in college lacrosse. You're never safe clearing the rock. The Piranhas are out and they're cashing in brother to brother.
The city of brotherly love became turnover city for Denver.
There are so many weapons for Notre Dame. One of them is their short stick D-midi, Ben Ramsey. Today, Quint, 3 caused turnovers, 4 ground balls.
He makes it go in the middle of the field, and those 2 young men, Chris and Pat Kavanaugh, that's the energy, that's the juice. And the fans are on their feet. They can sense it, they can taste it.
Largest lead for Notre Dame.
Stand up, stand up. Illegal procedure, white's leaning, red ball. You're
Red
way
ball.
leaning, you're way leaning.
You can hear the official. They said Will Lynch was leaning.
Zero tolerance, right?
Yeah, Kark, we heard the officials talk to the face-off guys before the game. Heavy emphasis on being set. They basically told the guys there was going to be 0 tolerance here with all the ESPN cameras in-house.
Yes, I was going to add that. They said you're going to be playing in front of more cameras than you've played in front of all season long. We will get you, we'll find you. So play it as clean as possible.
Now Denver needs a counterpunch. It's a 3-0 Notre Dame run. That's too easy for Liam Entenmann.
And you start force feeding shots, taking shots maybe outside the normal flow of your offense. Guess what? Liam Entenmann is going to gobble that stuff up.
And how many times have we seen a poor shot and an Entenmann save lead to an easy goal the other way?
Clean saves, no rebounds, solid outlet passes. That's the most improved part of his game, is agility in between the pipes and then his outlet passing. Freshman year, maybe a little shaky, not so confident outside the net. Now, strikes, rainbow, gorgeous outlets.
He was the most outstanding player of championship weekend last year. 10 saves today. Dobson a goal and an assist. Looking for Taylor. Can't catch it clean. On the ground, swarmed by Red. Taylor gets it back. Underhand feed. The one more pass to Kavanaugh, and he was in the crease.
McLean should have shot that 29 and white. Only about 6 yards from in front of the cage. Bury it. The extra pass to Kavanaugh. Even if he caught it, he was in the crease.
You would have shot that.
Kark thought his assist total was off limits this weekend.
A lot of talk in this game about Denver's defense. Well, suddenly it's Notre Dame's defense.
Unforced error. And now Notre Dame can run. Pios milling in retreat here in this third quarter. They were so good in the third quarter last week when they really put the game away against Syracuse.
Notre Dame's won 12 in a row. They're battle tested. Very legit schedule They've played big games in front of big crowds. Arlotta Stadium on campus at Notre Dame, suddenly 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 fans there. This team is ready for this weekend.
Our friends at Lacrosse Reference provided us with offensive and defensive efficiency numbers as Booze and Kill is on part of that second midfield. Crease feed, offline, ground ball. Chris Kavanaugh vacuums the carpet. And Notre Dame's efficiency numbers, if you look at just the shot clock era, smaller sample size, it's close. It's not quite at Maryland 2022 levels, but it's far and away better than anybody else outside of that Maryland team, which was an absolute Goliath 2 years ago. They've been dominant. Just one loss on the season. They avenged that last week in the quarters. Shot clock at 2. And Notre Dame throws it away. Kark, you look at who Notre Dame has lost to in these last 37 games, 3 losses. Well, one was to Georgetown this year. They avenged that in the quarterfinals last week. The other 2 last year to Virginia, which they avenged in the semifinals a year ago.
You know, where did it all start, too?
When Jake Taylor was inserted in the starting lineup.
Yes, I was doing that game. It was a late March game at Arlotta. Inserted into the lineup with 8 goals in the inside game of Notre Dame. Became complete. It let Pat Kavanaugh play the perimeter. It allowed Chris Kavanaugh to find those righty wing shots. In the offense, it's the cherry on top when Jake Taylor solidified it the inside. Because he's so smooth at finding seams. And now you got to pick your poison. If you want to guard Jake Taylor inside and shut him with a shorty, the perimeter feasts. If you want to slide from the crease, he'll have 8 goals. His presence will be felt regardless.
Commonalities in those losses last year to Virginia and this season to Georgetown. Invert offense against Notre Dame. Teams that got the ball behind the net a lot, whether it was Connor Schellenberger or Georgetown, and either dodged off of 2-man games or fed the crease. Remember Xander Dixon torching this Notre Dame defense? I'm shocked that Denver hasn't gotten the ball behind the goal more. That's where you attack the Fighting Irish defense.
Now, part of the issue, you need the ball. They haven't had the ball much, especially in this third quarter. They have played a lot of defense. Third midfield, Jalen Seymour. Less than 30 seconds to go in the quarter. Less than 10 to shoot. Pat Kavanaugh slips.
He's getting
mauled. Mercurio tries to rake it away. Shot clock violation. And now what can Denver do here with 12.9? Pio's down by 4. Lampert, 5 seconds. Fires on goal. Entenmann is right there. We go to the fourth quarter, and Notre Dame 15 minutes away from defending its title on Memorial Day. Denver needs a comeback. Can the Pios rally and pull it off? Or will Irish eyes be smiling on semifinal Saturday once more?
Momentum changes quickly in this sport.
And if past his prologue, and we saw Notre Dame do that in the 2015 semifinals against Denver. They looked like they were toast, down 4 goals. Sergio Perkovic authored one of the great fourth quarters in the history of championship weekend. Notre Dame would score in the final 10 seconds to tie the game before Wesley Berg won it in overtime for Denver. And then the Pios would beat Maryland 2 days later for their first national championship.
And that's why face-offs are such an important part of late season and late game lacrosse. Will Lynch wins that face-off. Face-offs determine possession, which determines momentum.
And so far, it's been lopsided.
Will Lynch is right now 11 for 13, another dominant performance, and Matt Brown has his hands full.
Dobson, there is Cleveland's first save of the second half. Notre Dame will still ride. You got to get it across midfield before the shot clock hits 60. Denver does so easily. Now, can they find early offense? Good ball movement, good rotation. The shot not there. Maybe that one more pass to the far side.
It's a sloppy sub by Notre Dame. Denver had the man advantage. I thought they wanted to take that shot when they were most near the middle of the field. Entenmann's going to eat up stuff from severe angles.
You got to wonder, what shape is J.J. Silstrop in? We saw him be fourth quarter Hercules earlier this season against Johns Hopkins. Carlson down the alley, bounce shot, score. Denver needed that. They cut the lead to 3.
Malcolm Kleben, born in Denver, raised in New York City, then now playing back in Denver, crosses over. Strong top hand movement across his face.
Yeah, he stares down Dobson. Joshua Carlson, what makes that goal is he doesn't switch to his left hand permanently. Brings it back to the right so he can keep that angle. If he shoots that lefty, Entenmann is going to stuff him. But the stare down by Kleben, who struggled in the third quarter on pure gas from Eric Dobson, triggers that goal.
18th of the season for Carlson, a redshirt junior. First goal in 12 minutes for the Pioneers. Now can Stathakis find his mojo against Lynch?
Lynch is winning the whistle. You guys mentioned Lynch ran an offensive shift at Chaminade on Long Island. What he's done now is he's become a student of the game. He's mastered the craft, whether it's the ability to study film, to track the cadence of the different officials, to time up that whistle. He's become a professional at the face-off art.
Yeah, he told us too, mentally he evolved. He said he lost one before, it would get to him. That changed starting championship weekend last year. Chris Kavanaugh, wild shot, back up to Angrick. Notre Dame keeps it. Anish, Shroff, Quint, Kessenich, Paul Carcaterra. Semifinal 1 of 2 here on this gorgeous Saturday in the city of Philadelphia. Lincoln Financial Field, home of the Philadelphia Eagles. Maryland and Virginia take the field next. Championship game per usual, Memorial Day. Pat Kavanaugh,
Switch earned.
has the short stick, Dan Anderson, who was outstanding last week. Brother Chris.
Offensive lacrosse is very similar to basketball, except it's 6-on-6, and in lacrosse you can go behind the net.
Kavanaugh has the matchup. Anderson, a sophomore from Central New York, looking for Chris Kavanaugh. On the ground, big ground ball. Taylor had it, shoveled backwards. Shot clock at 1, shot clock violation. Big hold by this Denver defense that came into the game, giving up only 9 goals a game. Fourth meeting in the NCAA tournament between these two teams that were once geographic outliers and showed that you can play winning lacrosse anywhere. Denver won the first 3 NCAA tournament meetings. Semifinal in 15, quarterfinal in 17, first round game in 2018. Avery's got a goal today.
Known for his shot on the run, senior from Nashville. 7 goals against Ohio State. He can run hot, he can run cold.
It's been a tough matchup for Lampert against Light today. Silstrop, only 1 shot in the game. That's Denver's leading scorer, 5 in red. Looking for the cutter, Manning through the contact, had a look.
I think Silstrop is really banged up because he was behind the cage backing up that shot. He made an instant switch with Lampert here to carry. We saw him, the hurt shoulder. It's not been the same.
Tortolani sets the pick, gets decleated by Light, but Lampert's got the matchup now on the short stick. His pass in traffic, knocked down. Irish come away with it. Now you got the sense, Carc, if Denver could get it back to 2, you can go back to playing your game.
I would agree with you, and I think when Matt Brown told me, got to create some tempo, I think it's going to be a short stick defensive midfield goal or a long stick midfielder that's running from end to end, because I think it's going to be really hard to beat this Notre Dame defense. 6-on-6 for 3 straight goals.
McLean gets inside and puts it through.
Anish, you're talking about closing a gap. You can't turn over the rock. Lampert gets a short stick matchup. He forces it inside, gobbled up by the freshman Light, and then McLean going to work like he did at Brown, carrying the rock, Q.
A little bit of an S dodge. It's underneath and then back in front of the goal. Right there, he steps away. The defender lunges and steps at you. You hit a little gas and you turn that corner working upfield. Really smart move. Again, there's no blinding speed for Devin McLean there, but there's great strategy, there's subtleties and nuance.
7th straight multi-goal performance for McLean. He was Brown's top scorer the last 2 years as an attackman. And Lynch wins yet another draw. Now, so many times this year when Denver has had to come back, Stathakis has been the game changer, the guy who can swing momentum, playing make it, take it. Will Lynch has put any thought of that to rest all afternoon.
See the offensive note for Notre Dame. A team comes in averaging nearly 16 goals per game. Ultra consistent, family style offense. Everybody eats. In that first half, you had all 3 attackmen with a goal. Now we've got all 3 of their midfielders with goals.
And they also had a top 5 scoring defense.
Yeah. They got 25 seniors or grad students on this roster.
McLean looking for a hat trick. Somehow finds an angle, falling down. The Irish lead is 5.
They're out in full force, loving every minute of it. National champs a year ago, 1 game from the title tilt again. Quint, you mentioned McLean not with the blazing speed. It's the awareness and the body control. It was the stutter on the last goal. This time, he feels the defensive pressure right here, and then he gives the rocker to get a clean break and get his hands free.
Classic rocker step. The fake inside roll, you come back upfield. In his case, he's got to launch upfield. He catches a break. It hits the defender's right glove. It hits Freehill's right hand, and look at the reaction. Cleveland's on it. Can't believe that ball actually ends up in the net. So McLean, a nice choreographed move, looking up at the big screen with a big smile because he caught a break.
It's his 3rd of the game, all in the second half. And now the mountain got much steeper for Denver. Lynch and the Irish pressing downhill. Boom! Nick Harris from the wing off the face-off win by Lynch. And Notre Dame starting to pull away.
So you're going to ask yourself, what's Nick Harris doing playing attack? Well, it's off a face-off. What Notre Dame likes to do is ride with that with that attackman if they lose a draw. You got 2 Kavanaughs and Harris, who's in for Taylor.
Even the shorties can rip it.
Dublin, Ohio, valedictorian of his high school class. Again, he's one of the grad students. Been there, done that.
That's unbelievable. When you look at this offense as a whole, #1 in the nation in scoring offense. The top team in the country in college lacrosse shooting percentage. They have the top extra man offense in the country. And D-middies like Harris, who's feeling it right now, shuffling his feet. You give him time and room, he can hammer it.
Their fans are enjoying it too. 3 goals in the span of 61 seconds.
I thought that looked like Mike Golick Jr. doing some military presses.
No, he's not getting here until tomorrow, I believe. And he told me stay away from him.
Will Lynch just takes the life out of you, right? You're trying to get within 4 goals. And they score, and this kid has been over 75% in the NCAA tournament. And his stock has just risen every single year in these big moments.
Yeah.
From a freshman year where they were left out of the tournament to last year beating La Salle and Naso back-to-back.
Most improved player in the country at the Division I level.
Riley Gray escaping the ambush, feeds to Taylor, he whiffs.
Taylor gets bumped and flops in the crease. Let's see what the call is.
Yeah, they'll say he was in the crease. Now Denver well out of its comfort zone, down 6, 8 minutes and change to go. And the issue that they're having, they're not winning faceoffs, so even if you score a goal, they have found no answer to Will Lynch with Stathakis.
Assisted goals have been in short supply for the Pios.
Carlson working on Buckner. Malowski against the bagpiper Bergmaster. Kelly drives on a Ramsey, who's been outstanding today.
He's sitting on that rollback, 24 and white, really well done.
Carlson shakes Buckner. Silstrop playing through a hurt shoulder. Was he in the crease? Entenmann slow to get up. Light checking on him, no goal. Entenmann says he's okay.
Thought he landed in the goal mouth after he goes past.
There's
Entenmann.
a red challenge flag.
He lands
on
in the goal mouth right there with his feet.
Matt Brown challenging the play. You can do that. Now Lampert came in, so we'll get video replay review. But again, if you land in the goal mouth, doesn't matter if the ball has already crossed and gone. And if you land in the goal mouth, they wave the goal off. And
he was definitely in that goal mouth.
I don't even think the goal mouth is in play here. I don't even think it has to be in play because I think he was in the crease even before the goal mouth land.
Yeah, right there. He's in the crease before he releases the ball.
And a goal mouth.
And Kark, I think you understand why Matt Brown's challenging. You're down 6. You're hoping.
Of course. You're not taking the timeouts to the bus.
Entenmann back up and okay. It's also a way that a coach like Matt Brown can get a timeout and get a stoppage, which his team needs right now.
Denver's MO has been to control tempo, control the pace, and for the first half, they were able to do that. This was a 5-4 game, Quint, after 30 minutes.
Notre Dame deserves a lot of credit. Again, Will Lynch.
After review, the call on the field stands. No goal.
Surprised they didn't confirm it, but it stands.
Matt Brown's done an amazing job taking over for an icon. Bill Tierney, winner of 7 NCAA titles, moving from Princeton to Denver. Brown was the loyal assistant for 14 years. He had opportunities to move out of the Mile High City. He stayed. He's known as an offensive innovator. And he has found his voice this season as a head coach.
You know, Matt Brown was with Jamie Monroe on that staff when it transitioned to Bill Tierney, and it wasn't Bill Tierney's priority at first to keep Matt Brown, but he met with him and he had a binder and a philosophy and a plan of what he could do moving forward when he teamed up with Tierney. And I thought they were the perfect complement for each other. And I think Bill Tierney, as great as he is, the greatest lacrosse coach ever when it comes to championships and a complete legend and icon, he learned a lot from Matt Brown. And I think that he allowed Matt Brown to take some ownership in terms of the overall program and the recruiting and the way that he wanted this Denver team to look like moving forward. And Coach T's not done coaching. He's the head coach of the Water Dogs, the Philly Water Dogs in the PLL, and he'll have his debut next week on the ESPN family and networks. we can't wait to see Coach T in the pros.
Yeah, I hope we have a microphone on him too for every Water Dogs game.
He's up at practice today in Albany. He and Matt Palem reunited, and it feels so good.
That might be one of the best battles.
Spare us.
It might be one of the best battles in the PLL this summer. Bill Tierney against Matt Palem, who's the head official. Pat Cavanaugh. Now Fisher Finley. Or rather, Fisher Finley. Denver comes away with it.
Scrappy grounders. One add-on in terms of Matt Brown and his influence as an innovator. Remember, his origins are in the indoor game, growing up in British Columbia. He's taken concepts from the indoor game and brought them to life offensively at Denver that now have everybody's using some of the concepts that Matt initiated.
There was almost an unspoken edict among certain coaches in college lacrosse for years when it came to recruiting Canadians. They would say, you can have one or two. You don't want a team full of them. Denver won with a team full of Canadians.
His ability to tinker and tweak and kind of merge indoor and outdoor philosophies.
Lampert, first team all Big East. He's got that quick first step. Richie Connell's been quiet in the second half. Entenmann with another save. He's up to a dozen. Harris throws it away, back to Denver.
You know, to put a bow on the Matt Brown story here, I give him credit too. He sees the game at a different level. He went out and is the driving force behind hiring John Gallant, who was an elementary school teacher for 16 years to run his defense. He had some box lacrosse background. He never played field lacrosse, but it's Brown's vision now that as a defensive coordinator, as a top 3 defense in the country, that was an elementary school teacher and a varsity lacrosse coach in Colorado. So he has a vision and a mindset.
The professor.
Donovan, physical with Kelly. Got a stick on it. Retrieved by Ty Hussey, senior from Aurora, Colorado. Back to Kelly. Shoots too high. If Notre Dame moves on, they'll get either Maryland or Virginia. They beat Maryland 14-9 back in March. They beat Virginia twice this season. The last time by 9 goals. Denver's shooting woes continue in the second half. Pioneers 2 for 17 shooting since halftime. Kelly gets to the middle. Try to get to the right hand. Lampert takes a hit. Shot clock expires. Notre Dame can feel it. Less than 4 minutes to go.
I think the big unknown this season when you looked at Notre Dame would be this close defense. Chris Conlon had a job. Who's an investment banker, comes back to school. Marco Napolitano also flirting with going to med school. He will, after the season, go to USC med school. And then you have the freshman, the growth, development of Sean Light, number 90 in white, who is going to be a superstar.
He stepped in for Chris Fake, one of the 2 Yale transfers on last year's championship team, along with captain Brian Tevlin. There is a flag down against Denver, and Notre Dame will play some clock. Light has become an elite cover guy. Conlon, who was always a great takeaway artist, you mentioned, left his job. He left his job late and joined this team. And Napolitano is a guy who waited his turn at Notre Dame. Behind the back shot by Cavanaugh to put the ribbon and wrapping paper on another Notre Dame beatdown.
Throw it to him. Why in the world would you ever leave college lacrosse early for a job when you could play for Notre Dame? Pat Cavanaugh, the 5th-year senior, a slew of graduate transfers, Quint. This team is built on experience, it's built on creativity, grit, and they know the winning ways. The Irish are smelling Monday.
This was a one-goal game at halftime, and Notre Dame has poured it on in the second half, up by 7. And if the Irish win this game by 5 goals or more, it would be the 7th time this season that Notre Dame has handed an opponent its worst loss of the year.
Workmanlike and methodical today, quite honestly. Will Lynch would have to get consideration for an MVP. But they've been dominant. Remember, that loss at the end of February against Georgetown was a wake-up call. They were, after, they started the season 2-0, maybe believing their press clippings. And that was a sobering loss that day. And since then, it's been nothing short of dominance.
It's lethal when you think of the combination of best talent and most depth.
The #1 seed, and really no debate about that going into the tournament. And since Matt Ward's Virginia team ran the table in 2006, since then there have only been 2 national champions that have finished the season either undefeated or with 1 loss. We saw Maryland do it 2 years ago when they had an absolute juggernaut, and we saw Loyola in 2012 finish with just 1 loss. Notre Dame, if they win Monday, would be a 1-loss champion on its way to 15-1.
Regardless of who wins semifinal #2, you'd expect the Irish to be a 2-3, maybe as many as 4-goal favorite on Memorial Day. 2 things work in their favor. They play game 1 here in the semis. A little more rest time. Second, we've been talking about it all day, superior depth. Can't remember a team that's played 3 midfield lines.
Especially as much as they've done in the postseason on this stage. Buckner defending Carlson, less than a minute to go.
Playing 4 short stick defensive midfielders, 2 LSMs.
Crazy depth. Quint, I don't remember a team that ran 3 midfields as far back as 1991.
I was going to
North
say,
Carolina.
you got to go back to like the 80s.
Yeah, I mean,
when there weren't defensive midfielders.
Yeah, they made that emphatic statement before the postseason in the ACC tournament when they beat Duke by 10 and Virginia by 9. Well, their fans have sensed it. Quint, you think about Notre Dame's ascension, much like Clemson football for years, the team that couldn't win the big game, the team that stubbed its toe, to now a program that plays big opponents like they always have, but they win those games. They win them consistently, and they win on the big stage. A 7-goal semifinal win for Notre Dame, and the Irish will defend their crown on Memorial Day. Today's Capital One player of the game is Notre Dame faceoff man Will Lynch, and he is with Paul Carcaterra.
Will, you were incredible. 18 for 23 at the faceoff X. Why so dominant?
I mean, all credit to our preparation throughout the week. I mean, this group is really the most selfless group I've ever been around. It's not about me, it's about we. And we really dial in throughout the week. Even the guys you don't see on the field, the success you do see is because of them.
I've watched you ascend from freshman year to now. What do you attribute your growth to?
Honestly, experience. It's when I first started, I really didn't know what to expect originally, but really, the group of guys are always supporting me. There's been some tough bumps along the way, but really, the experience has been a big contributor. We ended last year on a high note. We rode that success all the way into this year. Every week we build on that.
Every team has their own identity. You won a championship last year. What is this year's identity?
I think it goes back to the selfless culture we have. It's when you're a part of a group like this every day, who really just puts their nose down and grinds. I think the culture we've built the last 2 years is something super special, and it's when you're able to live your dream out playing right here with a group of guys that you battle with every day. There's nothing better than that.
Great job, Will. You need an ice bath, bud.
I do.
The season ends for Matt Brown and Denver. Will Lynch has been dominant through 3 games. 76% from the X in this NCAA tournament. 18 out of 23 today. Notre Dame Fighting Irish keep rolling. 13 straight wins. 15-1 on the season. 1 win away now from a repeat. We still have Virginia and Maryland coming up next on ESPN 2 to get you ready for that game.